Well, from Olympia and Salem to our nation's capital, this week, President-elect Donald Trump's cabinet picks began going through Senate confirmation hearings, and the Pacific Northwest was discussed quite a bit during Wednesday's hearing for Sean Duffy, Trump's nominee to lead the Department of Transportation, or DOT. That's because Oregon and Washington are lined up to receive billions of dollars in DOT grant funding in the next few years for big transportation projects. There's a $200 million grant for the Hood River Bridge Replacement, $450 million for the Rose Quarter project, two big ones for the Interstate Bridge Replacement, totaling around $2.1 billion. And another one announced this week, $30 million to help build a cap over part of I-5 in Vancouver as part of the Interstate Bridge project. These grants were all awarded in the past year or so, and they all come from programs that were established by President Joe Biden's landmark infrastructure law in 2021. So with Trump soon taking office and vowing to dismantle many of Biden's policies, there's naturally some concern about whether that money could get yanked back, putting major projects in jeopardy or stopping any more funding from going to projects who may still rely on it to get to the finish line. Washington Senator Maria Cantwell took those concerns straight to Trump's DOT nominee to see where he stands.
The issue about, projects that, I mentioned the I-5 bridge when we spoke. The infrastructure investment that's already been planned, that the money has been out the door and has been, it's on its way to doing the work. Will you commit to helping complete these projects and continue the funding?
That are underway, yes. And again, one of the complaints I've heard from the committee is oftentimes the money is not moving fast enough. There's been questions about why it's taking so long. So I'd love to work with you and make sure that the money gets out the door to the projects that are underway.
So Duffy sounded cooperative, but Senator Cantwell made sure to get him on the record about this over and over. That conversation you just heard basically happened 3 times over the course of the hearing.
Are you a supporter of the Jones Act?
Yes.
Thank you. Are you a supporter of the mega and freight and at-grade crossing programs that we established under the recent service transportation bill?
Yes, and I think this fits in with kind of the vision that President Trump has of those big projects that are so meaningful to communities that I think you mentioned in your office that oftentimes don't get done because they're really expensive. So yes, that's important.
So are you going to honor those commitments?
Yeah, no, I would anticipate honoring those commitments, especially if the law has been followed and the agreements are being met. I think I might get some backlash from this committee if you're halfway through a project and there's an effort to pull funding. So no, projects are going well, funding's flowing, and the deal is being met. I don't see an issue with that.
Okay, so it looks like that's about as much of an answer as we're going to get. But the focus there was about the projects that are underway and the money that's out the door. What about grants that have not been awarded yet? There's one in particular we're thinking of. Capital Investment Grants. It's a program specifically for public transportation projects, and it's the last big missing piece of the Interstate Bridge funding plan. They've applied for $1 billion from that program for the light rail portion of the project. But this particular grant program has a multi-year evaluation process, so this application won't get final answers from the DOT until well into Trump's term. And the only time it came up during this hearing is when Senator Cantwell asked Duffy if he was committed to working with the Committee on Public Transportation Investment. His full answer was, quote, "I am." So not a lot to go off of there, but you can bet the story team will be keeping an eye on the future of those massive transportation projects that rely heavily on federal funds.